Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Gemstone product roadmap. So the agenda I'll go through is a little bit about becoming GemTalk from Gemstone, 32-bit, 64-bit, and a little on maglev. Like Dan alluded to, we're now GemTalk, but not many things have really changed. Our office is upstairs from VMware, so we still see our former colleagues in the hallway all the time. Very close. Our email addresses have changed, new domain name, gemtalksystems.com, new phone numbers, and our licensing options have gotten a little more flexible since we went away from VMware. But a lot of things have not changed. The company name has changed to GemTalk, but the product name is still Gemstone. We maintain the right to keep the name of the product. Everybody came across, as Dan mentioned, that was at VMware on the Smalltalk team. They're now at GemTalk. All licensing and support obligations were assumed by GemTalk, so anybody that had a contract with us for Smalltalk on VMware now has one with GemTalk automatically, and our tech support is the same as ever. We're also not changing our community support. As Dan mentioned, there's 5 of us here this week from GemTalk. We're also a gold sponsor and board member of the Smalltalk Industry Council, and we'll be in Argentina in October, November for the FAST conference in Rosero this year, I believe. And I think we're also a member of the Faro Consortium, so we're continuing our support efforts in these areas. Gemstone 32-bit had been announced end of life by VMware for October 2015. At GemTalk, we made a decision to pull that back, at least in the short term. The end of life date for this product is suspended. There's no firm end of life date at this point. With that said, the product is still in maintenance mode largely. Most of our development efforts are going towards 64-bit. We did this because some of our customers need more time to convert to 64, but there may be an end-of-life date announced for this in the future, but it's not 2015. It'll be somewhere past that if and when we decide to go there. Gemstone 64 version 2 is what most of our customers are running. We're in maintenance mode with that version of the product right now. We're just doing bug fixes. Current version is 2.453, and in that version there were a lot of improvements on the AIX platform and bug fixes, but we're focusing our development on version 3 for the most part. Our current version of product is 3.105. That is mostly some very deep bug fixes in things like the process scheduler, IPv6 fixes, and some performance for improvements in restore and the hot standby features. So this is our 3.1 line. It's what most 3X customers are running. Our new release is 3.2, and we initially planned to slip that after the divestiture to GemTalk was announced. We initially planned to ship that in December. We're still trying to do that, although that's looking to be a little more problematic than we originally expected. We had to move all our machines out of the VMware data center to our data center, and there's been all kinds of problems removing ourselves from the VMware network to get our machines up and running and reliable and at a new co-location facility and so on. It's taken more time than we expected. So there could be a delay on the 3.2 product, but not more than a few months, we're hoping, and we haven't made that decision yet. What's coming in 3.2, we're adding support for Solaris 11. We're updating the latest versions of all the open source packages we have, and you can see there's a question about the NSA. Our encryption mechanism here is OpenSSL, so if you've cracked that, you've cracked us. But if you haven't, you haven't. Open source is a good thing, and I believe OpenSSL is maintained in Europe for the most part, so that's what we use. We're also adding some more multi-threaded features. Page reclaim will be multi-threaded, additional multi-threaded GC options, some new indexing support, and some new optimized collection classes for the Unicode support that we added in 3.1. The indexing, this is what we plan to put in the product. I don't know the details of all this stuff, but Dale is here. It's his baby, so you can ask Dale if you're interested in indexes in depth. But one thing we're bringing back is something called set value path terms. And what that means is having an index on a collection along the path. So for example, employee.children. So to build an index of all employees and on their children, which is a collection reference from the employee object, for example. And as well as some wildcard string query examples. I wanted to add more wildcard support for a while, and what the guys kind of came back and says, well, you can do a lot of that now with our existing indexes, but it's a little obscure in how to do it, so we're going to put some detailed examples in the product in 3.2 to show how that can be done. On encryption, we're adding some more Smalltalk entry points to the SSL encryption library. This example shows the symmetric AES encryption method that we're putting in for two-way encryption from 192, 128, or 256-bit keys. So we're not doing any of this ourselves. Again, this is just an entry point into OpenSSL, which provides all that stuff. Some new hot standby features. This was a customer request. You'll now be able to run a Gemstone hot standby and update the standby databases over a secure connection through SSL. Previously, we didn't support that, but you'll now be able to have a secure connection if your data center is across the open internet or something. The update traffic can be sent over an SSL socket. And the thread-safe GCI will be in 3.2. We won't be utilizing that yet internally. This will be kind of a preview. It'll be in a separate shared library DLL, but the interface will be there, it'll be functional, and we'll be calling that from Smalltalk clients from GBS in later releases. Those of you that have been around Gemstone a while probably know this tool, VSD, or Virtual Stat Display. We've been doing some work in this area. We ported the graphical tool to 64-bit, so you can load very large statistics files now and not run out of memory. And we also dusted off our Windows version of this and rebuilt it on Windows 7. I think the last time it was built was on something like Windows 98. That was a bit of a painful process, but we did get it finished. And it's on our website right now in beta form. You can download it on the GemTalk download page. One thing I like about this is we got the mouse scroll wheel working on this, which is, again, it goes back to Windows 95 days before there were mouse wheels. But this now works, it loads a lot faster, and it'll be shipping, the new version will be shipping on the 3.2 product, but you can download a preview version of this now and use it with any version of Gemstone. Just to review the platforms, this hasn't changed. Gemstone Object Server runs on Linux, Apple, Solaris, both Intel and Spark, and IBM AIX. This is on the database server itself. The clients run on Linux, Solaris, and Windows. And there's a new one there, the second line here. We've gotten requests now for 64-bit support on Windows to be able to run a 64-bit image against Gemstone. Previously, our DLLs on Windows were only 32-bit, so we're building a 64-bit version now, and that'll be supported with version 3.2. And that's with SYNCOM instantiations. I think we're up to the latest 8.6 and 8.5.2, supporting Windows 7 and 8 32-bit. Yes, Georg?
Do you have any plans for the server on Windows?
No. You want to know why? Or is that a...
Yeah.
Is that a satisfactory answer?
We really don't have enough customers.
You are between Seattle and Silicon Valley.
Yes. True.
So it's more thousand-oriented.
As I'm sure you're aware, the code base would be extremely different between the various Unix flavors and Windows, and historically there hasn't been enough revenue on the Windows platform for us to justify that, the extra engineering effort. When Gemstone initially did the port from Unix to Windows in, I think, 94, 95, they had to hire 2 engineers to just do that and maintain it. And it might be more than that now. So being a small company, it of course has to make business sense for us, and we really don't get that many inquiries about can you run it on Windows. We do have some very Windows specific shops, but in this day and age of virtualization, they just run a Linux VM on top of WinServer 2003 or 2008, and everything's good. So that's kind of the reason. Our licensing models have expanded from the VMware days. The one that VMware had discontinued is the annual subscription model. We've brought that back. We'll do perpetual licenses, subscription licenses, and VAR arrangements for value-added resellers that embed Gemstone in their applications. This is the web edition pricing. Again, this is free for commercial use. So anybody that wants to start with Gemstone for their small business can load it up and start it free of charge, up to 2 cores and 2 gigs of shared cache, and then the pricing steps up from there. This will be enhanced as we go forward to add kind of more stair steps to it, but the idea is that Gemstone wants to grow with a small company that's growing as well to match the size of the company and the revenue model of the company, starting from 0. Yes?
What is the 18%?
18% is the, if you buy maintenance, you pay 18% per year, I believe, of your purchase price for maintenance. So that's the maintenance amount.
Is that a subscription price or?
Well, maintenance is kind of like a subscription anyway. You're paying annually for support and new releases and so on.
I'm talking about the price per core.
It's a perpetual license.
Perpetual license.
Okay.
And when you buy a subscription license, that includes maintenance, because a subscription's an annual fee. So the maintenance is bundled into the subscription price. When you buy a subscription, as Syncom knows better than anybody, you buy it for a year at a time, and you subscribe each year. If you don't resubscribe, you can't use the product, right? It's an annual renewal, and that includes maintenance and support. And just another point for people in the universities, the free versions are great. We want you to use them, and we'll support through the community and through other sources to help you learn about the product and navigate the product. So we want to encourage anybody, whether it's a small business or a student, to go ahead and download the product, and we can handle quite a bit of support over online and through informal mechanisms and through your community. So feel free to do that if you're curious about using the best technology on the planet.
Yeah, the support community is actually very good, and it actually spans more time zones. Lisa and Bill work in Pacific time zone from about 8 to 6, but we get replies on the forum pretty much 24/7, because it seems like there's somebody in almost every time zone that does small talk and watches things and chimes in. So. That's the end of my slides. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
Do you do training in Europe?
The question is, do we do training in Europe? We have done training in Europe. We haven't done any open enrollment classes for a while, but we're always interested in doing that. If you are interested, talk to me or James Foster behind you there on what could be arranged. But it's been done in the past. Nothing is scheduled currently, but it certainly could be.
We can be flexible there, particularly if you can bring 6 people together, more than a critical mass, so we can afford to fly people out and spend the money and time working with you, but and we can figure out the right price depending on the type of people you're talking about. Most customers will pay, what is it, James?
I think it's $2,300 or $3,300 US dollars per student, depending on the course.
Per course, typically 3 to
5 days.
5 days. So that's the price for the public markets, but
It's
if
the
you
list
have,
price.
yeah, if you have the, you know, a group of people, and we're here for some other purpose, we'd be happy to manage and organize something a little bit less formal. Probably just the last thing I was gonna mention was the name Gem Talk, just for people that have a curiosity. Gemstone, of course, was what the name historically, and we built a product called Gemfire. So when we sold that to VMware, that Gemstone name was put out in global documentation with the Gemfire product. So in order for them to retract the Gemstone name, it cost tens of millions of dollars to extract that name from the media, from the documentation, from the... So they said we couldn't use the name Gemstone, which of course we, you know, didn't agree with, but suffice it to say, we said, well, we can come up with another name. So we'll take the history of Gemstone, Gem, take the history of small talk, talk, and create a Gem Talk. And that was how we arrived at the new name for the company. And we're able to keep the name Gemstone S as our product because that has an S on it. So that's the origin of the new company name. Thank you very much from both of us.